If a kid transfers 4 times, is he going to graduate from that school? There's no way. So now you're going to be done playing without a college degree. You have no ties to the last school you went to, where they feel that you're from Arkansas, you played here, we're here, you're going to have opportunity. That's done. You're offered $55,000 in your first job, and you go, what? 55,000? Do I have to show up? I'm worried about mental health. I've been poor. You know what's worse than being poor? Coming across some money and then being poor again. That's the worst.
The NCAA, or whoever the hell's in charge of college basketball, they better start listening to the legendary John Calipari, because college basketball is on life support. This current system is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for the schools, who are now disguising themselves as minor league sports franchises. And more importantly, the current NIL system is not sustainable for the students. Notice, I did not call them athletes, because the vast majority of these kids playing college sports, the term professional athlete is not in their future. As a country, why do we continue to screw over young people? Why do we continue to take advantage of the most vulnerable? Why do we continue to set up young people for a life of immediate failure? Most of the problems right now in America, they are directly tied to affordability, or the complete lack of affordability. One of the main reasons that young people are barely surviving financially, their future has been handcuffed by these doofus student loans. An 18-year-old kid, he can't get a loan to start a business. There is not a bank in the country that will give an 18-year-old kid $300,000 to buy a house. But they'll damn sure give them 6 figures to receive a degree in wanker spanking. The bank will give them unlimited funds to secure a degree that is absolutely worthless. For decades, college athletes have been given the benefit, the privilege, of receiving an education without having to worry about going into debt. But over the last 4, maybe 5 years, athletes are no longer worried about being educated, or in some cases, indoctrinated. Their only concern is who is willing to pay them the most money. And to be honest with you, I think this mentality is just as dangerous as student loans. These kids at 18, 19 years old, they are being given an inflated sense of their value. They're given the illusion that their skill set is worth $100,000, maybe $200,000 a year. Once they run out of eligibility, their ass enters the real world without an education, and they go from making $100,000 a year to making minimum wage serving wiener at 5-star Franks. The temporary money they receive in college, it gives them the illusion that they are professional athletes, when the reality is they're just highly paid amateurs. The other day, my wife came home all excited. Baby, the lottery is worth $1.7 billion. I bought us 10 tickets. We're going to be rich. I looked at her and said, throw it away. For starters, the lottery is the government's way of exploiting the poor, and we're not poor. The lottery gives you the illusion that you have a chance to be rich without working for it. I said, even if we win, which we won't, but even if we did, I don't want the money. I don't want $1.7 billion, at least not in this way. Why? What they don't tell you about winning the lottery, besides the fact that you'll never win it, what they don't tell you about winning the lottery, the money is a curse. Most lottery winners, they end up dead or broke within 5-10 years of winning. You win that kind of money without working for it, earning it, and it destroys your sense of purpose. I look at NIL and college sports the same way. The money is an illusion. The money is a curse. and it is destroying college basketball. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So going to get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Fluffer Noggin. I'm not a big snacker. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but if there's one time of the year where I break this habit, football season. One of my favorite snacks to eat while I'm watching NFL Red Zone on Sunday afternoons, beef jerky. Problem is, a lot of beef jerky tastes like you're biting into a flat tire. Good news is, I no longer have that problem because I started buying gourmet beef jerky from Fluffer Noggin. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is a Fluffer Noggin? Fluffer Noggin is gourmet beef jerky that is 100% made right here in America. You don't have to worry about consuming foreign cows because all these cows are homegrown. Each recipe from Fluffer Noggin is handcrafted with the perfect amount of seasoning. First beef jerky I've ever tasted that literally melts in your mouth. Fluffer Noggin comes in a variety of flavors, ranging from mango habanero, Korean barbecue. They even have a flavoring of craft beer. Or, if you're like me, you'll just stick with the original style flavoring. They are running a promotion through the end of the year, so click the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Use promo code BTL30, BTL30. Receive 30% off your first purchase with Fluffer Noggin. Let me ask you something. We are, call it 2 months into the college basketball season. How often have you heard about college basketball? Could you even name the number one team in the country? I looked for ratings this afternoon. There were hardly any ratings available. Supposedly, the 2026 NBA draft is one of the deepest drafts in years. Can you name a single player that is projected to be drafted in the top 5? This was happening before NIL, but it has progressed in the last few years. We don't pay attention to college basketball until March. NIL is damaging football, but it is absolutely destroying college basketball. Basketball, more than any other sport, is heavily reliant on star power. How can you build stars when kids are constantly changing teams? How can you build stars when the best players are in the NBA by the time they're 19 years old? Outside of charity, anytime you see a massive influx of money into something, the people investing that money, they expect to receive a return on that investment. In the SEC, the average basketball program is paying almost $10 million for players. The other 4 major conferences, they are paying between $8 and $9 million. What are they receiving in return on that investment? According to the NCAA website, once ticket sales, game guarantees, television contracts, media contracts, licensing, merchandise, once every possible way of monetization is included, the average SEC program is losing $71 million a year. The other 4 major conferences, they are losing between $40 and $60 million. Are you starting to understand why this is not sustainable? The vast majority of college basketball programs, they were losing money before NIL. With NIL included, these schools are losing millions and millions of dollars. I'm struggling to understand who's benefiting from this. Well, Casey, the kids are benefiting. They're finally making money after being taken advantage of for decades. No, they are being given the illusion of money. You heard John Calipari say it in the clip at the beginning of this video. The only thing worse than being poor is to suddenly come into money temporarily, then you go back to being poor. My dad grew up poor. When I was a teenager, I asked my dad why he was working so much. Why are you working 2 jobs? Why are you working at the post office while running your own business? We've got everything we need. We have more than enough money. Why are you working so much? I'll never forget what my dad told me. He said, "You never forget the feeling of being poor. You never forget the fear of wondering where your next meal is coming from." To this day, my dad saves 99 cents of every dollar that he makes. Because even at 74 years old, he has never forgotten the feeling of constantly worrying about money. But there's a huge difference between my dad and a lot of these young kids who are blinded by greed and chasing money in college sports. My dad had a skill set that he could rely on. Down here in the South, people always need their yard cut. They always need a sprinkler system to water their grass. When the system breaks, they need someone to repair it. And most contractors, they struggle with being on time. They struggle with following through on what they say they're going to do. My dad knew with the skills that he developed himself, all he had to do was show up when he said he would show up. All he had to do was quality work, and he would never be without work. I'm lucky that I had a dad who was there to guide me when I was young and thought I knew everything, when the reality was, I didn't know a damn thing. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of these college athletes today are lacking parental guidance. More specifically, it seems like they are lacking masculine parental guidance. Moms are great. Moms are great for the emotional stuff. Moms are good for building self-esteem. Moms are good when you're dealing with injury. But it's dad's job to tell his son, you're not transferring. You're not leaving Duke because Wiener Tech is offering you an extra $1,000. Your ass is staying at Duke, and your ass is going to graduate. It's dad's job to be the bad guy who the son thanks 20 years later for caring enough to not allow him to destroy his future. Again, who is benefiting from NIL? The athletes aren't benefiting long term because it's damn near impossible to graduate when you're at 4 schools in 4 years. The programs are losing millions of dollars. College basketball can't build stars because athletes are living in mobile homes waiting to travel to the next highest bidder. Women's basketball has been forgotten. If you're paying players in women's college basketball, you're never going to see that money again. So, who is benefiting from the current NIL system? Because all I see is monumental losses. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.